independence that way. So yes, your parents and your friends and all the stuff they say matters, but you defining your own path and you choosing what you actually want to do for yourself also matters. You have to change your environment quite frequent, not quite frequently, but quite literally every couple of times in life in order for you to achieve what you want to achieve. So for example, let's just say you want to go to law school and maybe you live in Grand Prairie, Texas, and there's no like really big law schools in Grand Prairie, Texas. You have to start looking into law schools that are at least 2 3 hours away, because you want to make sure that whenever you're going to law school, while you're also like gaining your education, you're gaining your independence, you're starting to think for and by yourself. So your parents, your siblings, your friends, all the stuff that they say, all the stuff that they tell you, like, you're gonna do this matters. But at the end of the day, you are who you are and you're what you believe in. So if you continue to listen to a lot of chats outside of what you say to yourself every single day, there's not gonna be a lot of progress that way. So I definitely advise people getting their independence that way. And if that's not a thing that you can do straight out of high school, if you decide that you wanted to go to grad school, you can always decide to do that as well. But yeah.
Amazing, amazing.
Thank you. You said something,
Yes.
and I thought somebody would ask that question. You said pre-seed. Does anyone know what pre-seed is here? Your company, you said you guys did pre-seed, right? I don't think anyone knows what pre-seed is. Who knows what pre-seed is? Okay, so we have a problem. So we have to talk about that. Do we can talk that two things. Do it now or talk about it during the panel.
Talk about it during the panel.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because that is important, especially for those of you that wants to become entrepreneurs. Those jargons become very important, pre-seed, seeding, and all those things. Thank you very much.
Thank
Can we clap for her
you.
one more time? Alrighty. So, we're going to go into our third speaker for this morning, Dr. Damilola Ashibamowo. She is a practicing general dentist who was raised right here at House on the Rock, where her foundation in faith and purpose was first built. A graduate from the Herman Ostrow School of Dentistry at the University of Southern California, Dr. Ashibamowo has a deep passion for both patient care and self-expression. Beyond the dental chair, she's an advocate for creative freedom, entrepreneurship, personal growth, and using her platform to inspire young professionals to explore unconventional paths and redefine success on their own terms. Whether mentoring future healthcare providers or building her own lifestyle brand, Damilola brings authenticity, ambition, and purpose to everything she does. Can we please clap for her?
Is my PowerPoint ready? Hi, guys. All right. I just wanted to give y'all a little bit of a switch from, the conversations, because what I would say is not different from what our beautiful guest already said. So at least just to, have your minds flowing on the different paths you can take, one of them just being dentistry. I feel like a lot of people are not really too familiar, especially people of color, of just how wonderful that field is. So I just wanted to, give that opportunity. So you want to be a dentist. What is dentistry? Dentistry is a branch of healthcare that centers around oral health. As dentists, we treat, we assess, and we educate patients on oral health. It's typically more than just a beautiful smile. It's more about the overall well-being of a patient and just improving their confidence. So there are different areas of dentistry, so I'm not going to go too much into that, but typically it's 4 years of dentistry after you've done your undergrad, and you can go straight into it and start practicing, or you can choose to specialize. Hopefully you guys are seeing a dentist. It's pretty chill. I like it so far. We can go to the next slide. Thank you. So, one of the main things that people know us for or a dentist for are like cosmetic things that we do. We typically see a lot of patients kind of like in the middle where they're missing teeth. They don't like how ugly their teeth look. It's yellow, it's broken, all of those things, right? And they come in and they want a better smile. Everyone wants to be able to smile from ear to ear and not feel judged. So that's one of the main things that we do. Now, under cosmetics, we usually do veneers, which most people are aware of. Veneers kind of go right on top of your teeth, and they make it from 0 to 100. If you want a wider smile, you go the veneer route. With veneers, a lot of things go into place, but typically we just want you cavity-free and some other things, but that's usually the main thing, all right? Yeah, and that's pretty much it with cosmetic stuff. With fillings and crowns, that usually is also very popular. I don't know if you guys can see the picture on that, like lower with the darkness. That's usually a cavity once we kind of open it back up and we see the darkness there. So that happens when you're not flossing a lot, and then the sides of your teeth are starting to get dirty, and then the tooth starts to break down, and then it turns black. So you don't want to be in those cases, but if you do have that, usually a filling takes care of it right away. Then we have the crowns that we put right on top of the tooth. And yeah, that's also another thing. The other ones, inlays, onlays, those are usually more of a case-by-case basis. But typically, most people have fillings. They have crowns. I have some fillings. Not a lot, but I have some. Next one, please. Now we're getting to a little bit of the, I guess, nitty-gritty parts of things with dentistry. One of them being root canals. A lot of people, when they come to see us, they are very terrified of that word, And usually whenever you get to that stage, it's because the cavity is a little bigger than just a filling. So now it's starting to hurt, and you need some form of nerve therapy, which is something that's inside the tooth. With the root canal, we just go in, we clean it out, kind of like you see in the picture, and then same thing, cover the tooth up. And then you're good as new. So yeah, that one's pretty cool too. I enjoy root canals. They're not really all my fave, but it's fun. Next one. Another nitty-gritty one is extraction. Yeah, this is when after all was said and done, the tooth is not savable. It happens a lot. That's how people end up with missing teeth. But I always tell people, whenever we get to this stage where we have to take the tooth out, there's no convincing me. There's no convincing another dentist. We're not going to leave it in there because it's not good for your health. So with that, same thing. The patient is nicely numbed up. We make sure that you're numbed up, and then we take that tooth out. Just like that. So whenever those teeth are gone, then we start looking at, all right, well, we can't have you walking around with no tooth, so what are the replacement options? And then those tend to be a little bit more than that, but I just wanted to show y'all a physical picture of what that looks like. Sometimes when people are missing front teeth, I always tell them to go the implant route, and that's the one where you see it kind of in the bone over there. And again, it all looks gruesome, but it's really not because you're numbed up. So we screw that on in there and put a crown on top. And sometimes we just give kind of like a replacement that they can take on and off. So there are a lot of different options when it comes to replacing those teeth that are gone. And sometimes when people are missing all of their teeth, then we're looking at something called dentures. I don't want to bore you guys too much. I just wanted to show a little bit of just kind of what dentistry is, what the different things look like, so that if it's something that catches your interest, you have some form of an idea. All right, next. now that we know a little bit about dentistry and just kind of the different things that it has to offer, how do you get there? Well, one, you have to have your undergrad degree, right? You have to have a bachelor's. Now, the wonderful, beautiful thing about dentistry is that we do have so many people that come from so many different paths. I've had classmates who were theater majors, who were psychology majors. I was a nutrition major. So you don't have to necessarily be like pre-med, pre-dental, your major in biology or anything like that. You can honestly choose a major that interests you. The only thing is you have to be very cognizant of the fact that you have to have certain classes. You have to have your organic chemistry class, you have to have your chemistry class, you have to have your human anatomy courses. So there are specific courses that you have to have, but you can always take that as well on the side if it's just like completely out of the science, district. And then after that, you're looking at shadowing opportunities. You want to, if you know that's something you're interested in, you can always talk to a local dentist in your area. You can talk to me, you can talk to anyone. There are a couple dentists as well in the church. And just take a look around, see what they do on a day-to-day basis, see if it's something you're interested in. What does that look like when they're talking to a patient? What does that look like when they're diagnosing? Can I do this on a day-to-day basis? And I also did that. I did that in, I think, the 7th or 8th grade. I did it with one of our dentists here, and I enjoyed it. I liked how sweet he was with a patient, and I was able to get some of those hours with him. And that opportunity came through something like this, where he came, he spoke. It was actually just me and him in the room, nobody else. So that was a little different. But through that, I was able to do some of those shadowing that I mentioned. And then you're going to have to take something called a dental admission test, but that's normal. I feel like that's any field that you're in. If you're going into med school, you have to take the MCAT. If you're going to dental school, you have to take the DAT. If you're going to law school, you have to take the LSAT, right? Yeah. So you're always going to have to take some form of entry-level exam. All it takes is just studying, putting in the hours, putting in the work, locking in, and you'll be fine. And then, of course, you apply. Same thing with any type of application, which you guys will be very well acquainted to when you do it for college. Getting letters of recommendation, just filling out an application, just that whole shebang. So there's nothing new under the sun. It's the same cycle over and over again. It's just a different platform each time. So dentistry is just mainly all of that, and getting in the right mindset to make sure that you're ready for that. And of course, always asking for help. When I was applying in that process, man, I was asking for help. I made sure that I spoke to the people that I needed to speak to. But honestly, YouTube was my best friend. There were these guys that they would post kind of like a screen recording of them mimicking an application. So I saw how they actually put in the information, because no one at the time knew what I was talking about or knew how to do it. So there's always going to be resources out there, and sometimes you just have to take that leap of faith and ask people, or just do the research yourself. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Honestly, yeah, that's it. Thank you. Any questions? No?
Or like the root canals and other like extractions and stuff. Why? Because I had braces for like 7 years, and I got like 2 surgeries. 7 years. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So- I know. But I had 2 surgeries for like my fangs or whatever, and they numbed me. But I would have rather been asleep, because I felt like the grinding. It didn't hurt, but I could feel like the tooth coming out, and it was very uncomfortable. I was like, why didn't they just like knock me out instead of numbing me?
Well, there's always, I'm pretty sure it's because you were like, they spoke with your parents about that. But whenever it comes to taking out teeth, there are those options of one, a local numbing where we just like numb and go make sure that tooth is asleep while we take it out. And then sometimes people are put to sleep who have like severe anxiety, dental anxiety, and they are put to sleep. But if it's just one little tooth, sometimes we just kind of encourage for that way, along with things like, you know, nitrous or something like that. But one thing I always say is that anytime we're taking a tooth out or we're working on a tooth and you're feeling something, you tell them straight away. Don't sit there and be uncomfortable, like, I'll thug it out. No, let them know I'm feeling something. That's one. And then two, sometimes even with the anesthesia, you're not gonna feel pain, but you're gonna feel some form of force. You're gonna feel like a tugging, a pulling. There's some form of pressure, but it shouldn't feel like sharp pain. So those are usually the two, you know, things when it comes to things like that. Yeah. But always making sure you're numb is like our first thing. Yeah.
Hello. Okay. So I do remember. I know this is something that you haven't talked about. So there is a thing called like wisdom teeth. It's like kind of similar to taking out like back of your teeth and up front. So, and I know this thing called anesthesia. So I want to know like what happens after when you are done with the process. Like you're taking out someone's wisdom teeth, and like do they forget like their memories for a while? Do they like I don't know, like, do they like forget their memories? Do they feel like, oh, what's going on? Where am I? Like something like that?
Very rarely. I don't have those situations happen, you know. Most times it's just, again, kind of like what I was telling him, that tooth is sleeping with wisdom teeth. Yeah, most people are put to sleep. I was put to sleep when I took my wisdoms out. And so when I came out of it, I was a little like, you know, doozy or whatever, but that's from the anesthesia, not necessarily because of the dental work or like the actual form of extraction. It was just medical things. We have to learn so many things related to that. So whenever you are getting treated by a dentist, just know that they also know the medical aspect of things when it comes to anesthesia, when it comes to making sure you're safe and comfortable to treat. Lightheadedness, again, case by case basis. Sometimes some people feel lightheaded. At that point, we just stop, reassess, make sure they're good. Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to ask a question about the wisdom teeth. So all four of mine have come out, and sometimes I'm like it's scraping against my cheek, or I'm feeling discomfort. But other times, most of the times, I don't really have a problem with that. Is like me sometimes having discomfort a sign that I should just go ahead and take them out now, or should I just like let them?
You trying to get my work for free? That's what she's
I
trying to do.
I just want to know.
You're asking me a dental question. Okay, I'll give you for free. Well, any dentist has to see. Like, we have to see what's going on, right? I can't just look at you and know, because, again, case by case basis. So if we see and we take a look and we're just like, you know what, you're young, it's fine, it's growing in naturally, but if it's starting to give you any type of discomfort, pain, then yeah, sometimes I say, yeah, we have to go that route. Same thing happened for me. I had my wisdoms for years. I didn't take it out until I was 22. And I think it was because of dental school. It started to really stress me. So I started having pain, and I went to the dentist in my school, and they were like, yeah, that's just kind of the only thing that you have to do at this point. So I had to take it out, and everything was fine. But we usually just take a look and see, and then it's based on what you're feeling. Because if we don't have to put you through that, we're not going to. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Go ahead, go
I
ahead.
feel everybody else should be concerned, right? So how
Don't say what you're making. Range.
Arrange, okay. So dentistry has changed a lot, and I wish that more people do talk about the financial aspect of things with any career, honestly. But first and foremost, you should never, ever, 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 ever go into a career for money. You'll be so miserable. I know so many dentists that are literally hating their job, hating their life, that I work with every single day, that they're just like, they hate it because they went into it for the money. There are a lot of different aspects of it, but usually if you're a new grad and you're just graduating, you can work for a company, you can open your own, or you can work with a private practice. A private practice is like somebody that, like your local dentist down the street, okay? And then a company is like, if you see, I don't know if you guys know, like Mint Dentistry, for instance, like you have like different companies of that same company, but different locations. So most grads go that route. You make more money there, but you are more stressed. And in those areas, you can make as a new grad probably anywhere from $180,000 to $250,000. If you are hardworking, you're on your stuff, you want to get better, and you don't care to work 6-7 days straight. If that's how you vibe. If you're still like, you know what, let me be 5 days, maybe 6, then you'll still be maybe, I know some people 100K, like, you know, that's like you're just chilling and a bit lazy. But yeah, and then it gets higher the more experienced you are. It gets better the more you specialize. So if you are looking into dentistry, I definitely encourage specializing. Less work for more money. Most specialists make upwards of $300K. Yeah. Range-wise. Some oral surgeons, I know an oral surgeon who makes, with his practice, like $1 million. Yeah, but you go to school an additional 4 to 6 years after dental school. But, I mean, what's that? You're gonna do 4 to 6 years anyway. You might as well do it, you know? I won't, but, you know, you might as well. Any other questions?
Thank you, doctor.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it.
Okay, so right now it is 11:25. So what we have on the agenda is bathroom break, right? All right, so let's take bathroom break for, I tell you to go and don't come back. Okay, bathroom break for 5 minutes. It is 11:30. Let's come back at 11:35. 11:30. Now, let's come back in 5 minutes' time, 11:35. Thank you.